Now, Sylvan and Barry Mason, wonderful. You see, you just had a big row when you did that.
It just reminded me, watching it again, we'd had a terrible row in the dressing room over looking in the mirror. You know, Barry was quite vain. We're meant to be looking all lovey-dovey. We weren't at all. You can sort of detect it if you know that.
I love it.
But we got through it.
Famously on the music front, you were one of the only people that got stuck out for a night on Radio Caroline, that you had to spend a night with the guys on Radio Caroline.
Well, I'd made a record in 1965, as we all did, and I was promoting it. I was invited to go out to the pirate ship, the Mi Amigo, and we got the tender out to the boat. It took about an hour and a half. It was very rough. I was interviewed by Tony Blackburn. He'd only been there a year, I think, then. My manager, who happened to be Barry Mason, had said to me, "We need some publicity, don't come back." When the tender was approaching, I locked myself in the loo, and they're banging on the door saying, tender's here, Sylvan." Anyway, it gave up in the end and went off. It had to get back because the weather was getting rough, and I was there for 2 days with the boys.
So, apart from your musical talents, I hear you had a go at photography.
I did, a bit more than a go, yes. I brought this along. This was my first go at photography when I was 8 years old.
Yes,
my father
I think
did.
We all had one of those.
I don't think I could use it now. Well, how I got into it was at the end of my marriage. I had to go back to work. I was on holiday in Malta. My parents emigrated to Malta. And Leapy Lee was visiting, my dear friend Leapy Lee. And I was telling him how, I didn't know what to do. And he said, "Well, what do you like doing?" And I said, "Well, obviously, I love babies. I'd been trying for a child for such a long time, and it was wonderful to have her. And also, I like taking the snaps, because being a shy person, a camera is a perfect thing to have, because you can hide behind it, especially at parties." So he said, "The magic words, why don't you put them together and take children's photographs?" And a sort of light bulb went off. This possibility. So when I got back to London, I phoned my friend Deso Hoffman and said, "Deso, I've decided I want to become a photographer. How do I go about it? What course should I take? What books should I read?" "Darling," he said, "you can't learn photography in books. Come in the studio and I'll teach you." And it was just like that, and I did. I went about 3 times a week, learned everything. I made the tea, ran errands, watched him in the darkroom. He said to me things like, "The most important piece of equipment, photography, is the 6 inches between your eyes and in the back of your head." And things like, you learn photography in the darkroom.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You learn photography in the darkroom.
Make
and he used to paint pictures with his hands.
Very clever.
Teeth,
yeah, good
put
for
the
him.
vignette round. He was amazing. And so I spent 9 months with him, and then he had a heart attack, which he recovered from, but he was in hospital for quite a while. And so his assistant, Tony, and I had to cover the jobs, and I was thrown into the deep end, back into the music business, funnily enough, the Ivor Novello Awards, all the award ceremonies I was covering, and Tony did them all, difficult things, and then I was off, really. I had a 40-year career.
There you go.
So let's talk about your dad Jack's connection with James Bond in the early days. It's a story that he was hard done by, and also his partner Kevin McClory as well. That they were there, and really Fleming sort of reneged on the deal. Tell us the story about that.
Okay, well, in 1959, I was having lunch in the dining room in Oxford, Surrey, where I grew up, and Dad came in. Dad sat down and said he had been asked to write a movie from scratch using the character of James Bond with Ian Fleming's permission. The first 7 books that Fleming had written, they'd all been turned down by all the studios as being too misogynistic, too violent, and too unbelievable. And none of the studios would touch them. Kevin McClory had other ideas, and he went to Fleming and said, "Let me have a go." And Fleming had a go at writing a screenplay, which he abandoned. He didn't want to do anymore. Anyway, he gave up. He said, "I can't do it." And so Kevin brought my father in to do the screenplay, and they produced the first screenplay, which I've got here. What happened was, Fleming lost confidence in Kevin McClory along the way. He was a wild Irish. He was a fantastic character. Dad had changed the character of Bond slightly from the cold-blooded killer of the books to the slightly warmer, flirtatious, cold-blooded killer of the movies. Suddenly, Fleming saw the potential. Everyone saw the potential. And what he did was, he thought he could just get rid of Kevin, and he went to Saltzman and Broccoli behind everyone's back. And Saltzman and Broccoli took it up. He wouldn't give Kevin a piece of paper, a contract. Kevin had lost his contract, and Fleming wouldn't produce another one. So Kevin couldn't get backing. I mean, they'd gone as far as recceing in the Bahamas. They looked for locations. They got nurses there. They got a budget out. They were all ready to go.
So it must have gone to court after that, surely.
Oh, it did. Yeah. It did. It was well, shall I show you the cuttings?
Yes.
But basically, Fleming brought the book out saying it was his. 201 pages were plagiarised from this film script, and he didn't give Kevin or my father any credit for it. And so Kevin, who owned the copyright, took him to court. That's my father and Kevin. That's Bobo.
And who's Bobo?
Bobo Segrist was the daughter of... She was an heiress. Those are the losers. Fleming and Ivor Bryce, who was his partner.
And I believe you have the original screenplay, do you?
I do,
oh,
yes.
Gosh.
This one is actually an exact copy. I had an exact copy.
Oh, my goodness.
But it's exactly as it was.
And much of this was interpolated into the actual book that Fleming wrote.
201 pages was of Fleming's book, stolen from this, with names and places changed. Can you see all these pages here? Those are everything that's been stolen.
So presumably this was a document that came up in court.
Yes, yes, it was number 57.
Wow.
It's also a copy. I keep them at home under lock and key. Yeah. But this is an exact copy by Blissett. They've exactly reproduced it.
So, Sylvan, you're going to show us some very rare footage, I believe. Will you talk us through it?
Yes, I will. It was taken at La Manga, the opening of the La Manga Golf Club. And there were a lot of celebrities who were invited, but they hadn't finished building it, and they were shipping in palm trees and it's raining like mad, and it was chaos. It was quite funny, mud everywhere. Anyway, they managed to get a game of golf, and Sean Connery, who lived down there, he had a Spanish wife, and he lived there, and I was introduced to him. I was really struck dumb, because he was at his absolute peak then with the films. And his hand was on my back, and he was kind of caressing my back, with my husband standing here, naughty boy. But anyway, it's a lovely memory, yes.
What, the hand or the footage? Or both? Yes.
I treasure it, yes.
Would you like to do the honours?
I certainly would, Mike. Bob, roll that reel.
Sylvan, you've got a role of Jack Whittingham and Kevin McClory. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, this is a very, very old piece of film. It was taken again in about the screenplay was written in 59, so probably 60 or late 59. They were recceing for locations because the film was ready. Mm-hmm. They had the screenplay, they were casting people. David Niven was asking to be James Bond, all sorts of people. They were casting, and they went out to do a recce in Marbella. And the interesting thing about this is the terrain. If you've been to Marbella, it's very built up. Mm-hmm. But there's hardly a house. There's just the odd house around, and the mountains and the beach. And so that's what they're doing there. Bobo had taken a villa there, and they're recceing for Thunderball, looking for spot locations.
You did it so well last time, Sylvan.
Again?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Bob, roll that reel.
Ready?
Yes.
Bob, roll that reel.
Now, and the bracelet.
The bracelets, yes, these bracelets. My father had, every time he made a movie, these are all his movies.
Oh,
here.
gosh.
Every time he made a movie, he had a little gold disc
It's lovely,
made
isn't
for
it? What a lovely
my
memory.
mother's bracelet. Yes, we're all very proud of that.
Sylvan, bless you for coming in. Thank you very much. Lovely story. Continued success.
It's been a very great pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
No, brilliant. Thank you. We're going out with Sylvan singing We Don't Belong.
Bob, roll that reel.
Tomorrow when we're gone, they'll see the reason why we can't go on, believing different things, but knowing that we're right. Goodbye to them that say we're wrong. We don't believe